Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So we did see, the overall market kind of have a nice little field day. I'm waiting to see if we do have a nice little sell-off. Remember, at the time that I am making this video, it is a little bit early on in the day. It's roughly about 6 a.m. I know that a lot of people ask me, like, dude, why don't you just, record them and throw them up? You guys have to remember that these videos do have to render and things like that, so they do take a little bit of time. So I do apologize for them not being exactly on time. But in regards to the overall market, I'm still expecting some nice price action on Quant. I have been averaging in, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I bought probably over 100 QNT since roughly May. Now, obviously, I know that to some people might sound crazy, but I think I'm at an average price on it at around $55 or so. And I really kind of started to buy back here when we came down to $50. I bought a little bit around the $60 to $70 range, but I bought most of it during this range here that we had this for a couple days back in June. But again, I feel confident holding that 100 that I just recently bought for the long term. I mean, we're talking about $10,000 plus. Which I do suspect that we will see eventually. And it's going to take some time. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not expecting it anytime soon, but I definitely look forward to seeing that. Now, the total active addresses, we've been sitting at about roughly 590 being added on a day-to-day basis. Just recently, we added about roughly 200. It wasn't anything too spectacular, but I'm still seeing a large amount of accumulation happening on Quant, which I love to see. In regards to the market, we could have a nice little sell-off today because we are seeing the job reports and stuff like that coming out, which, by the way, by the time that this video does go live, we'll most likely already see them. Let's see what happens. Right now, we are having a little bit of a pullback on Bitcoin. Let's see, what happens with that. Now, in regards to Quant and the future of QNT, we do see here, this is a tweet from the professor, QNT to 5 figures by 2025 is programmed. Right now is accumulation phase. You're either in or you're not, period. Soon people are going to say, wow, you bought QNT under $100 while they are happy with, 0.025 Quant. Pick a side. And yes, I don't want to be a moon boy, if you will, with this, but this is basically true. I mean, if you think about it, the upside on QNT as a token is fairly large. And I've always said, QNT is on its path to $10,000 eventually. It's going to get there. We don't know exactly the time frame. Is it going to be by 2025? We don't really know. Honestly, we just have to kind of play our cards right and accumulate as much as we possibly can. To me personally, I'm taking this opportunity in this market as a gift, and I will continue to average into a large amount of my positions, and QNT definitely is at the top of my list. Now, let's take a look at this tweet here. So this is from Drunk Monk 21. QNT is building a new system that the entire globe will be on. This will be the biggest crypto project in the coming years. Now, I don't technically like to, assume that Quant is basically going to be at the forefront of everything, just to kind of speculate. But honestly, I think that this, in regards to speculation, could be true. I mean, when you look at, what Overledger, or I should say, Quant is doing with Overledger, it is something pretty significant. Again, remember, interoperability for its own, use case is probably going to shine beyond, what we typically see in this market, which is, speed, scalability, security. All of that stuff is great. But honestly, interoperability is what's going to allow for a large amount of these assets to actually be utilized. So, if you're, praying, hoping that, HBAR or XRP or XLM is going to be adopted massively, I want you guys to understand that you are also betting on the fact that Quant or any sort of interoperability solution in this market is going to be adopted massively as well. And, when we really kind of look at the other interoperability solutions in this market, Quant definitely is, way ahead of the game in regards to the technology stack. And yeah, we do see it here, the world is currently experiencing digital revolution. There is no doubt that digital assets are here to stay, and global leaders and banks are exploring blockchain solutions. The legacy financial system is in dire need of an overhaul. One of that increases, speed, efficiency, and also interoperability. Below, we dive into the current development of central bank digital currencies and how Quant's Overledger technology is an integral, component for the rollout of the new financial system. And of course, we do see down here, Here is the CBDCs and how far along we basically are. I do believe that Quant will basically be at the foundation, sorry, of the current or even new financial system. And I've always like talked about this as well, like even in regards to like where we are at with ISO 222 tokens. We're basically almost there. I would say like we're probably a few years away from full mass adoption of like crypto assets in regards to like the financial sector. And I also said this on Twitter as well. Like I said, central banks are urging a push towards an interoperable digital financial infrastructure. Why does the QNT API gateway work so well? It's already been proven to work. It's live with 3 lines of code through plug and play integration. They already started onboarding hundreds of banks. The technology behind QNT is extremely different compared to your typical interoperability solutions. Most of the solutions we have are only centered around blockchains. This is not solving anything. Interoperability between the legacy and digital infrastructure is key. And I also said, people can hate on QNT, but interoperability will unlock the door to mass crypto adoption, not only in finance, banking, but also in healthcare, Internet of Things, Metaverse, Web3, etc. And we do see like a response saying like, can't Hedera Hashgraph solve this? And no, it's not. Like it's not the same at all in regards to, for example, like true on interoperability between like the legacy and DLT systems. And yeah, I think that when we really kind of look at the scope of QNT, the API gateway approach is probably one of the most beneficial approaches that we've seen so far in regards to like an interoperability solution, simply because of the plug and play aspect that you don't need to change anything. You don't really need to learn coding or anything like that as well. Like it's live in 3 lines of code, which is insane. And of course, this is like plug and play integration as well. So this, to me, is the proven way that interoperability essentially will be achieved, especially within the financial sector and the new financial sector. And also, we did see here from 21 hours ago, Bank of England to announce crypto regulation. Just so that you guys know, let's actually zoom in here real quick. So we do see the Bank of England's Financial Policy Committee has called for widespread crypto regulation, reported CoinDesk on Wednesday. Now, again, they emphasized the need for enhanced regulatory and law enforcement frameworks to address developments in crypto asset markets and activities. To me personally, like when we look at this, what this screams to me is not only are they trying to look at like control stablecoins and stuff like that, but this is probably going to usher them into a new financial system. They do say down here, if crypto has access to mainstream transactions, crypto assets could pose a threat to the wider financial system, hence the Bank of England's strong motivation to gain firm control over the sector. To me, this kind of leads us to this tweet, which also, coincidentally got posted yesterday as well. And this is from Quant, really interesting piece in today's, Financial Times by Chris Flood, FTFM, about how the, I don't know, what is this? The Investment Association, sorry, believes that using blockchain and digital ledgers could cut administration costs for asset managers. We agree. And of course, this is just one highlighted use case around, like, for example, blockchain and digital ledgers. But we also do see down here, Britain's asset management industry is pushing the government to establish a new class of fund employing, blockchain technology. And again, this kind of tells me where we basically are at, in digital assets and digital tokens in general. Like we're basically to the point where, financial institutions and asset management companies and even banks are now urging, government officials and governments in general to like, listen, you need to move on, crypto adoption and crypto regulation, because at the end of the day, we are falling behind. And that's what's going to happen, especially if you don't see like crypto adoption in terms of like mainstream banking sectors taking control of, crypto. And I don't mean like taking control in the sense of like centralization and like actually controlling crypto, but just like in regards to like regulations and actually adopting it. Like if they do not adopt crypto, they will fall behind and banks will be swallowed up. Because we will essentially have crypto, driven banks at some point in time. And again, this all leads us back to one major player, and that is Quant. Quant will be at the forefront of all of this. And of course, this does go on to really kind of mention the efficiencies around it as well. We do see here, said it was vital that policymakers, regulators, and investment industry participants should work together to drive forward innovation without delay. Blockchain traded funds, also known as tokenized or on-chain funds, could be rolled out as early as the end of the second quarter of 2023 if regulatory approval was expedited by the FCA. Asset managers have realized that there is potential to generate alpha market beating returns via tokenization. Tokenized funds can deliver more transparency, instant settlement, improvements in data and analytics. And yes, this is why I always talk to you guys a little bit about tokenization. Like tokenization is actually very large in the sense on like even focusing on like healthcare. We talk about like tokenization in real estate. We talk about tokenization in many areas. And I don't believe that a lot of people are actually focusing on tokenization as a whole asset class itself. Like we always really kind of just regard like tokenization in regards to like, crypto itself, but when we really kind of look at tokenization, it could become, an asset class within crypto. That's how large it actually is. Now, also, in regards to this, I want to end this overall video off with this article. Now, this article goes back to May 21st, and I'm pretty sure that I've actually mentioned this in a Quant video before, but the reason why I bring it back up is because it's even more true now. So first off, Swift experiments with CBDC interoperability for facilitating cross-border payments. Remember, Swift is a network that is already securing over 11,000 financial institutions globally. Swift is the system that we basically run on a day-to-day basis. Now, we do see Swift will work on linking different CBDC systems to ease the difficulty in cross-border transactions since the digital currencies are mainly focused on resolving, domestic uses. Now, of course, they want to focus on interoperability. We do see facilitating interoperability and interlinking between different CBDCs being developed around the world will be critical if we are fully to realize their potential. Today, the global CBDC ecosystem risks becoming fragmented, with numerous central banks developing their own digital currencies based on different technologies, standards, and protocols. And this is the truth. Like, we are basically seeing many DLTs being utilized for CBDC issuance and also adoption. This is also why I say, like, you need to pay attention to what is actually happening behind the scene with a large amount of the adoption happening around like CBDCs or even digital assets. There still is one major need, and that is the need for interoperability. And we do see like the gateway will intercept cross-border transactions on the network, translate them, and send them to the Swift platform for onward transmission to another CBDC network or established payment system. Now, again, to me, like the easier or streamlined area on this would just be Swift utilizing like Overledger. Like imagine like Swift actually becoming, a major player on the Overledger network. Like that would basically clear up not only a ton of, not only like friction, but also it will streamline the adoption of not only Overledger, but also crypto in general as well. So this is why I focus on these major players like Swift, really kind of putting an eye out on CBDC interoperability or just interoperability in general, because this is going to be like the major players that really kind of spark the flame for the digital revolution to truly happen, which we've basically been seeing Ripple also focusing on Swift as well, which, again, plays perfectly into, for example, like Quant being a major player within the Swift ecosystem as well, because we already know that Ripple as a blockchain, if you will, is already interconnected through, Quant. So with that being said, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.